right.
All right.
Can you position yourself so Joan can see you? No. Like maybe
Why don't we
closer to the
bring
trees?
her over here?
If he's like where Susan is.
You know, Susan?
Yes, that's it.
Keep going back.
I'll move the tree.
There you go. Move her up there. It's only
Peter, you're in perfect place.
Charlie's gonna move her.
You speak English?
That would take a while.
Charlie's got it.
Here, they're
Bye-bye.
gonna move Joan. That was easier. I know. Yeah.
She'll be happier seeing everything.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, God.
See,
I'll be more surprised than anybody.
The music man.
Oh, no, that's not even just trying to up your life. Sounds like, what was that old TV show? This is your life?
yes. I thought that was
Yeah, somebody take a picture. I don't have my phone on me. Somebody take a picture.
We have a Irish dance tonight?
I don't know.
They got her here. Don't worry about the picture. Peter, you're perfect.
All right.
Okay, Peter.
Thanks to everybody for coming.
You too.
It's great to see so many people here from different elements of Mom's life. I know a lot of us have different memories of her and what she means to you guys. But from the kids, we wanted to share a few things about her that.
The shame is coming.
Just a few things. I will mention this particular event has got all 5 siblings to come into town, and we think it's only the 3rd time in a month other than July and August in 20 years. So it's actually probably one of the first times we've all been together for more than once in a year as 5 siblings. So so it's a big event. It got a lot of steam over the last few months. So I was really happy that we could all come in, and that all of you can come and join us together today as well. So to talk about just a couple things, there's a few aspects of her personality I thought I would just focus on. It's actually quite sweet, so you don't know.
This is the same.
As you notice in slide 1,
That's the one I have. That's the one.
empathy. So I want to talk about her empathy, and I think if you know her, you know she has this deep way of kind of connecting with everything that she's a part of. And in our family, we have a lot of family discussions about different things, and one of the things we always talk about is films. And we're talking about favorite films and debates on the merits of them and things. A lot of which my mother has never seen because they're all simply too intense for her. Her empathy for the world extends well into the fictional one as well. And it's impossible for her to separate. One of the things I've said to my siblings before, my mother would have watched the first Star Wars and the Death Star exploded, and she'd be saying, but what social programs are available for the families of the stormtroopers? So, you get the idea. Growing up, I think we all took for granted that kind of moms just did loads of charity work, and our house was just full everywhere of Bread for the World, pamphlets and flyers everywhere, and we were very aware of. We didn't need the We Are the World things. We were very aware of world hunger as 6-year-olds. So we knew exactly which kids would have eaten our food if we didn't eat it. But I have particular memories. So I remember, she put us to work. We were packing little jars for the Ridge Walk fundraiser. And she had no problem about having us kids all packing. And I think it was good because our hands were small, so we could really pack the jars well. So it might have been about, you know, social justice for the rest of the world, but child labor at home was. So,
I knew there'd be things that I wouldn't remember. I'd forgotten that.
but I think, you know, her charity work and everything that she's doing now as well. It's great to have friends from Margaret Village here as well, you know, which is a big part of her life these days. It's a lot of it's driven by her optimism for things. You know, everything's just going to turn out all right, and it's just, you know, despite the chaos, you know, it's going to get there, you know, and things are going to work out, and that every day is you can grab something from it, and it's this kind of insatiable energy that just needs to be put into something. One of the things we were talking about is our trips to the North Woods, and Mom would get up every morning and she would have all these lists of things she had found, and she was going on guided hikes and you know, archaeological digs all over the forest of the North Woods, and she was like, "Kids, I got all this stuff." And we go, "Yeah, that's good." So, and I think, you know, very few of us ever went on any of them. But she would know a lot later on when we were walking around and point out, you know, this was really cool if you'd been here the other mornings. But she did find things, and you know, one of the things we still laugh about the Fond du Lac powwow. I think Maureen and Gigi were up there as well. You guys have been along to the powwow, and they'd always have the Native American fry bread they had, donuts.
Yeah.
So remember the?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do.
It was brilliant.
I remember you doing an imitation of the master's ceremony, saying like, "Okay, now we're gonna have a dance of the crow. Everybody get out there for the dance of the crow." And you're like, "Mom, this is not authentic."
The important thing was our money was authentic. So I think we were, but it was fun. And you know, ironically, it's as I get older and have become a parent, you know, it's me doing exactly the same thing. So I'm out there trying to find all the interesting things. "Kids, this will be great. Come with me." And they're like, "Yeah, that's it." And waving me off. So, you know, but more seriously though, you know, Mom was sick in the mid-90s, had lymphoma, and as a family, I can't say that we ever really thought that there was any other outcome, that she was going to be absolutely fine. And you know, and it was all kind of funny. Like, she would just make jokes about it. Honestly, that's the way. I remember shaving her head when she had treatment, and I helped with the pair of clippers that I always shave my. "Oh, Mom, I'll do you." You know, I shaved her head, and you just kind of felt that things were going to be okay, because that's how it was. What we didn't know was that she had actually got sick a second time, or not got sick, but she had a misdiagnosis a second time, and there were months and months, and where apparently where you've been going through trying to find out about.
Well, just 6 weeks.
Well, 6, all right, but you know, and none of us ever knew that. And Dad was just telling us about it 2 days ago, you know, and we said we never had no idea. And I mean, this is how she was with this kind of thing. I mean, "I'm gonna be fine, you know, I'll be fine, you know." And you know, and she was, and you know, and 20 years later, here she is, and she comes over to visit us in Hong Kong almost once a year for the past 10 years or so. And you should see her charge up mountains and things, and run around the city and take, you know. And my dad's a little, he's happy to be a little more sedate for some of the week. And she'll find things around Hong Kong to do, and she'll be looking around, and she'll find these great things, and she'll go out and say, "All right, Bill, I'm going to go out, and we're going to go out, we're going to go up to the new territories, and we're going to explore this monastery and climb this mountain." I say, "Yeah, that's okay." So they're still doing it. She's still out there. And so then, but the last thing I think I wanted to talk about was her kind of unconditional love for her kids. And you know, she's had a big family. There's 5 of us kids. There's Paris and Everett from when we were young. So another part of the family from long ago. And I think, you know, along the line, there's been a few minor misunderstandings with authorities and things. And, every kid has had something.
She wasn't arrested anyway.
I was never arrested. I'm the only one.
There's a broad spectrum of arrest. But you know, there was never anything but support and kind of how we worked through it. It was never a you know, kind of an issue or in the way that it could have been. She was there. She was our mother, and she was going to love us no matter what. And I think, you know, that's it's that same kind of attitude towards the kids, I think, which is kind of fostered the adventure and kind of seeking nature of the kids where we've all ended up in 4 or 5 cities, which is the irony of, you have 5 kids to kind of ensure a couple of them.
Yeah, you would think.
But I think it's been kind of her support has felt us the willingness to get out there and explore and see the world, because we always know where our home is, and we still see, we still come home for our home, and we still kind of see this. And I think I've never changed it in my phone. In 20 years of being away, I still have the phone entry for this phone number is home. So it's just one of those things I think that makes that difference. A few years ago, we had a holiday, and everybody came in, and we had all the grandkids, all the spouses, and we had a couple weeks in here, and after about a week, tension was getting a bit high, and a few nerves were frayed, and people were kind of not quite getting along, and my mother could have just screamed and shouted and just said, that's it, and she just had everybody kind of yelling at each other, and she just goes, "That's not very spazzery." and we all know what she meant. And I think a family meeting later in a little bit, and the holiday was back on track. So I think I think that says a lot about who she is and what she's meant for the family. And I think you'll see elements of what she means to you guys from there. So happy birthday!
Thank
And I think we have a few other things. So.
That's Leo. So listened around from different people about 70 things, which ended up being like over 100 things that we love.
This was Carol's
plan, yeah.
Oh, my good friend Carol Daker, for those who know her, they had plans made months ago to see they had to travel to see their daughter. She also has a lot of kids out of town, so she knows what it's like. She's heartbroken to not be here. But a lot of her furniture and tablecloth.
Did you read the?
I didn't read it. Teresa's gonna, I guess.
We're not gonna read all of them. We're just
Oh,
read a couple of highlights in Mayor Pat.
Some people are going, you're going to read 100 things.
We do have copies of Best Run after. If you want to take a look,
And it will be a test.
The first one I'm going to read is actually from Carol, and it goes along with we talked about when Mom was sick, and it says, "I love her courage and humor, even battling cancer. Remembering a time when she was chasing her wig down 95th Street."
Oh, I remember that.
Chasing you.
It blew off my head. I had to run after it and step on it. It was about to go under a car. And I grabbed it and stuck it on my head. And I went in my car and looked in the rearview mirror. It was on sideways.
Oh my God.
This one comes from Jeannie Reedy. It says she remembers the latest thing your mom told her about you and asks about it.
Aww.
Margie wrote, "I love her dance moves, especially polka."
Oh, yeah. From way back.
And this one comes from Margot. "I really love when Laura is telling you a story, idea, fact, or anything. Her own thoughts spark new thoughts, which spark new thoughts, which spark new thoughts. You can have like 10 conversations with Laura in one conversation." And Susan and I both read that. We were like, that's a really nice way of phrasing that.
Yeah, Margot never says, "Get to the point, Mom."
And this one comes from Carrie, and she says, "Laura always gives her time and full attention to listen, even when she's late. Very late. She's truly interested in your life."
So this is from Addie and Davey. She sings songs at my school. Jason says, "Welcome me into the family like a son." From Jen, her patience and willingness to always join in with anything. "We always say to our friends, Laura, today we're going to visit." You should do this. Well, never mind. "We're going to visit a sewage works in the rain, and Laura will smile, jump up, and find all the best things to say about poo and bad weather." Evie says Grandma is unique and different in a good way.
Her mother's tax.
And Ollie said, "I love how you always make sure people are happy."
Aww.
Oh, this was mine. Mom and Dad created a home that everyone felt welcome in, even the bad kids. Peter Bowie. Luke says definitely the cool hand. I love Laura's creativity.
Wait, who's it?
Reagan.
Okay.
I love Laura's creativity. I remember being so jealous one year that she gifted Vic a book on tape for his birthday where she read the book and recorded on cassette tape for him. And Peter said growing up, all her kids thought charity work and marching against war, nukes, hunger was just what adults did with their spare time. Oh, that's right. You should take that one.
It's from me. I love watching my mom do jazzercise to Joan Baez in our living room. All right, and then we was gonna read one from Connor. Ian's wrote a little story.
That's another nephew. Most of these are nieces and nephews. Oh.
When I was young, maybe 8 or 9, I was at the Spazieris for a family get-together, and at some point, the topic of age came up. It was a few of the cousins and Laura and me talking, and I think we were comparing ages of the ants. How many seconds were in all the years that they had lived? To me at the time, it seemed like an impossible feat, like counting to infinity. And I must have expressed this concern, to which Laura happily jumped out of her seat and said, "Let's figure it out." She grabbed a calculator, a pen, paper, and began walking me through the calculations. If somebody is 100 years old, that means they've lived 100 times 365 days. There are 24 hours in a day, so 100 times 24. Down until we got an exact number of second count for various ages, including some of the family members. I remember it clicking with me, not so much in an aha, I understand math moment. Rather, the realization that when presented with a problem I don't know the answer to, I can break that problem down to pieces I do understand and solve those one at a time. I've thought about that experience with Laura often, as rudimentary of a calculation as it was, even when working on engineering exams in college. And I've seen similar examples play out with Laura and other family members. So I guess the thing I love about your mom at that moment was her diligence. She diligently observes her family, especially the young nieces, nephews, and cousins, and doesn't let a teachable moment go to waste.
Wow.
Mary Pat?
Oh, okay.
Oh, English.
I love taking. Oh, okay, because I would have been speaking in French. I love taking Laura and Bill to the airport because it's always an adventure.
I know this one.
This started way back in college days when she was leaving for the very important and thrilling trip to Loyola Rome. Details are sketchy because I was pretty young. Grammy and Poppy were driving her to the airport, of course, and most likely some of us went along because going to the airport was a novel thing in those days. At some point along the way, I think after we arrived, she discovered she had forgotten her ticket. There were no online tickets in those days. You can imagine this is one of those rare times when Poppy lost his cool. I'm not sure how the situation was resolved. I think somebody at home, Gigi or Mary, had to make the trip to the airport with the ticket, but she made her flight. This scenario has repeated itself a few times. Well, Laura has figured out strategies to remember the tickets. Now. So the last time I brought her and Bill to the airport to catch a flight for Hong Kong, she actually made it out of the house with the tickets, but discovered that she couldn't find her purse with the passport shortly before arriving at the airport. There was lots of speculating about where it could be, and calls were made, and we were able to reach Ellen, who quickly ran over to Spazieris to search the house to no avail. What we finally figured out is that her purse must have fallen out of the car when she opened the door in a tow booth to retrieve a renegade coin.
True story.
Calls were now made to the Illinois State Troopers, and lo and behold, they had picked up her purse. They were able to backtrack and meet them in the parking lot of an Oasis and got the purse with the airport, and she made her flight.
And Mary Pat has a beautiful tablecloth I brought back from Mexico as a thank you gift because that time You had to go. I called you from the airport and said I left my passport and it's in the cabinet in the basement with the. And I told you where it was and you came to my house and you drove it up there. That was before security at all. We were able to. Thank you, Rebecca.
We love that.
But did you said a coin, you know that was 25 cents every quarter? We lost an hour in anguish over 25 cents.
Yes, it will never let me forget.
That's the worst, the anguish.
Were you hoping to say
Dave,
something?
did you have a toast
Well,
on behalf of the neighbor?
I'm the one who said we ought to do a toast to Laura. And I don't know her as well as some of you because I've only lived across the street for 26 years. But in 26 years, I think that the one thing that comes through is that she just has a tremendously big heart. She's always thinking of how she can do things for other people. Now, you might ask for better neighbors, but you couldn't possibly ever find better neighbors than this Mid-Series. So, Laura, happy
Here, here.
Cheers.
Dave takes care of my plants every time we go out to Arizona or Hong Kong. So
Yeah, you still got the sign on the one you put outside.
Oh, yeah, that's
I have a lot of interesting stories in the sense of humorous ones, but I just thought, I was thinking back to...
He's got a lot of stories.
No, those I can't tell.
Come on, Bill. He can tell so many times.
But, you know, I actually met Laura by accident.
Oh.
And it was because of Bob Reedy and Gene O'Malley. We used to go up to Ed's Old Time Inn bar in 111th Street because we were roommates in an apartment at 100 and Charles. We were roommates until we got married. So I was there almost 2 years. And so we'd go out on a Wednesday night. At that time, Bob was chasing Marilyn and Gene was chasing Gigi. I didn't even know Laura existed. I just heard about these McCabe girls. But they saw you, and they said, come here. They thought, well, if she's here, Marilyn and Gigi got to be nearby. And so they said, this is Laura McCabe, and she's with a date. So I thought, well, that's nice, you know. Okay, guys, good luck, and I went and had another beer. And I didn't think much about it. But a couple weeks later, Bob and Gene said, let's have a party, and they invited the crowd from Ed's Old Times. And they wanted to invite Marilyn and Gigi, and so they had to bring Laura, too. This time, she came without a date. And as usual, she's always the last to leave everywhere. And it had a few extra beers. And I didn't know what was going on. And I look, and there's this girl playing my guitar. And at that time, we were 23 then. I think it was late fall of 1972. And we started singing. And I thought, wow, she can really sing. And what also struck me is the way you strummed the guitar. It was very gentle. It was very warm. And your voice was very, very sincere and very clear. And it was attractive. You know, not that you weren't, but it was a talent that said there's something more here than just a good-looking woman, you know. And I remember it just sort of got me interested, and so. But I remembered you were dating somebody, and I didn't call you and said, "Oh no, she's not going out with that." I think the guys told me. I said, "Well, I'll call her," and I think we went down to. I think Old Town to see some folk music or something.
Earl of Old Town.
Earl of Old Town, yeah. I think.
Orphan's one of them.
Yeah, it was. Bill Quakeman was playing. Yeah. Who was, I thought, one of the best piano players. Okay. Anyway. But we found.
Speak about me, the singer.
But you know, Laura's always had this infectious smile. And a lot of my classmates, when I introduced her to her, they would say that to me. Wow, you know, there's just something about her smile that makes you want to say, this is a person you can talk with, you can get to know. She's non-threatening, she listens, she seems interested, you know. And I think what really got me interested even more is my mother called me a couple weeks. This was about a year before she passed away. and she had gotten to know you, and I don't think we were even engaged then, but you had gone up and met her, and she called me. She said, "Boy, she's really unusual. She's really wonderful. She really loved you." And I said, "You don't know her." And she said, "No, she's special. Don't lose her." And I don't know if you ever knew why she said that. I didn't want to make you cocky.
You told me.
Yeah. But I remember she told me that, and I think gradually we just kept. I think it was a slow development where I got to see almost what everybody says here. You are very caring, not only for someone you're dating, but as we met people, we met mutual friends. I could see people loved you, and you loved them, and cared for them, and it was very inspiring. And that's, I said, I can't let her escape. You know? Somehow or other, I got to get her interested. And, I could say that, you know, every marriage has moments of tension. And I'd say most of the moments of tension, well, it's 45 years and 2 years of dating, I've caused.
Interesting.
I've caused.
Take some notes.
Laura's cause of tension is she lets her purse fall out of a car for reasons of importance. Believe me, that's not the only stupid thing she's done. But you know what? She's never done a bad thing. I've never seen her intentionally do something mean to anyone. And she's never done anything intentionally mean to me. I have a temper. I'm loud. She doesn't understand. Coming from a house of 6 sisters who are always polite to one another. I've never seen them yell at one another. They may be mad at one another, but they'll always be polite. I came from a house, my mother had 7 brothers. I grew up in my mother's family home, and we all screamed at one another constantly among the men. And that meant nothing. We were very close. It was just our lifestyle. It's Italian. Anyway, I think about it as we, got to know one another. She was always the one who had the ability to relieve the tension without making me feel as the one who did wrong or scolding me. It just melt me and cool me off and make me smile. And that's something. That's a rare ability, and I see that's how she does that with so many people. And even in situations that are tense, she very gradually gets people to, if not smile, cool down. And I think she was a teacher that way. Even a kid who would be difficult in class, she saw that child as someone very worthwhile, and it was her problem to communicate. And she'd talk about that, when she'd come home. A couple weeks ago, this ends quickly, but we went to see a singer who I'd never heard of before, Rupert Wakes. I had never heard of this guy. He was wonderful. He had a great voice, and we actually went to see the other person on the ticket with him, who we had been following. And he got up and he sang this song.
It's getting colder, Bill.
Huh?
Yes, it's getting colder out here.
Oh, okay. This is it. I just want to read the first verse of this song.
Oh, okay.
It starts out, it says, I don't need the mountains. I don't need the trees. I don't need the splendor of the sun that shines on me. I don't need the treasures buried out at sea, and I don't need the temples of mighty antiquity. I've traveled far, and I've seen much that has left me cold, and even sometimes it seems nothing could move us in our lives together. I'm amazed by your love, and that you just bring out the best in everyone that you meet. We are all amazed by your love. Thank you. Even when you tell me to shut up.
Can I say something now? Yeah. Okay. This is what I call the Academy Award.
It's getting cold, Laura.
Okay, I want some audience participation. When I say the group you're in, raise your hand. My kids. Raise your hand if you're one of my kids. And my sister Marilyn, that group put together this party. Susan was the slave driver in charge in such a nice way, She got her brothers moving, and okay, so my kids, the rest of my sisters. Oh, my sisters brought all the side dishes and salads. Raise your hand if you're a sister. And let's see. Way back, Margie and Nancy, grammar school friends. Thank you. College. I don't know if any college friends. Oh yeah, the Millers are still here. Yeah. Young couples. Okay, Joan and who else was a young couple with us? Joan and Frank. We had their kids when we were here. Oh, Carol Dacre. Yeah, she's not here. Oh, she's in the neighborhood group. Okay, neighborhood group. All the neighborhood people. Yeah. The prayer group. That's Santa Gidio. That's Joan and Jean and some of them Lois and the 95-year-old Donata. She's amazing. She's in that group. Okay. Prayer group. And Margaret's Village. I think only Rosalind is left for Margaret's Village. The board members with me. And Angela, some of you met. Angela really inspires me. She's what keeps me doing all that volunteer work. Okay, so those are all the wonderful groups. I want to say you're all treasures to me. You're all fascinating to me, and I want you all to stay in my life forever. And even though I may be flying back and forth and not seem like I'm paying attention, I really am. And I think that's all. Yes.
That's ready to sing. Are we all going to sing? Yeah, let me start us off. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Laura. Happy birthday to you. Hey, look at her.
Try to make all the candles as we go out.
Here we go, Laura.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. That doesn't mean it's over. Just have cake. I think there's coffee. There's a big pot of decaf in the dining room, and get the warm. And there's desserts. A lot of desserts in the dining room.
And the full list, if anyone wants to read the full list, will be.
I'm going to make sure.